Hello and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. Today I'm going to tell you everything that I've learned about plate reverberation. Don't go away, this is a fascinating topic. I'll give you a demonstration of the Waves Abbey Road Plates Reverb VST plugin. I'll give you plenty of audio demos and I'll share with you an issue that I have noticed with the audio quality. All that and more coming up. So if there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's never to buy Waves plugins. Never ever buy them at the full regular price. I bought this one for just $20. It's now on sale for $29. This is a Cyber Monday deal. But if you're patient, you never have to pay full price. They always rotate the sales on their products. And here we have it loaded into Reaper. Now, this is a digital model of the EMT 140 reverb plates used in the Abbey Road Studio from the late 1950s and still very much used and sought after in recording studios today. Now, the great thing about these Waves recreations is that they inspire me to do some research into the hardware that they are attempting to emulate. And this has been very interesting and educational. Let's talk a little bit about plate reverberation. Prior to reverb plates, a studio would use an echo chamber consisting of a loudspeaker and a microphone inside an empty room, which was used to add some reverb to a track. However, the reverb is not easily adjustable. It allows only for a fixed decay time, plus the availability of rooms for a studio could become an issue. So in 1957, the Abbey Road Studios in London did something about this. They bought 4 state-of-the-art, at the time, plate reverb units from EMT in Germany. These are huge steel plates suspended vertically on springs from a steel frame. An amplifier powers a transducer that's mounted in the centre of the plate, and as the signal is played, the plate starts to vibrate, which causes the tone to sustain. Then there are 2 pickups closer to the edge of the plate that pick up and amplify these vibrations. This is mixed with the original signal to give you a very lush, although slightly metallic, reverb sound. There's also an interesting damper system that consists of a fiberglass panel which is suspended parallel to the plate that could be moved closer to dampen the vibrations and shorten the decay. You could actually move it from just a few millimeters from the plate for a 1-second delay time all the way back to about a half a meter, which would give you 5 seconds, and it never actually touches the metal plate. Let me show you now a video clip that I got permission to use that shows you exactly what one of these real reverb plates looks like.
Here's how it works. You send some dry signal from the control room either via an aux send on your analog console or out of one of your DAW interfaces. It comes down the hall through some tie lines. It goes into the EMT's driver amplifier. The driver amplifier boosts the signal and sends that through the coil in the middle of the plate. Over the coil is a permanent magnet, so basically what you have there is a speaker, but instead of a paper cone, you have the metal plate. Now we need to get our reverberant signal back to the control room. This happens via the 2 pickups on the EMT. They are wired to the amplifier, which boosts the signal and balances it. To change the reverb time of the EMT, you move this damper closer to or further from the plate. Further away, you get a very long reverb time, 4 to 5 seconds. As you move closer, it gets quite short.
So this is where the plates are housed, up here on the roof.
Okay, I always thought they were downstairs and behind Studio 2, but must have been ages ago.
So as you can see right here, Abbey Road still is using these 4 reverb plates that they bought in the 50s. And they're used to produce the reverb on a variety of tracks all the way from the Beatles to Radiohead and Adele.
Studio 1's old echo chamber.
And this is what you were talking about earlier with the amps being...
Yeah, I did tell you, this stuff is really interesting, isn't it? When I make videos, I sometimes try and imagine I'm talking to my father and figure out the kind of stuff that he'd be interested in. And I think this is a topic that would fascinate him, and that's why I made a video about it.
Especially the hum really helps.
Okay. And there's the all-valve jobby.
Yes, this is plate D, the all-valve plate. And the three
hybrids. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the plugin.
Goes down into room 2A.
So a pretty gorgeous UI, an example of skeuomorphic design, I think it's called. In the middle here, we have an illustration of this plate hanging from the frame. That would be the transducer in the middle and the pickups over here. And as we play it later, you'll be able to see some animations of the vibrations in the plate here. On the left, we have an input gain adjustment. And on the right, we can adjust the output level as well. Now the controls here are very simple compared to other reverb plugins I've used. The main control here is a plate selector that allows you to swap between the different plates. And you can see the animation in the middle there is changing color to show you that. In reality, I think these plates have different sizes and they use different types of amplifiers for the transducers and the pickups. A mixture of solid state and valve amps. This is an interesting control here. I can either drag this up and down to change the damper position. Right down at the bottom, it's the closest. And that's furthest away. I don't see any animations of that, unfortunately. That would have been nice. I can also use the buttons to adjust the same thing. In the real recording studio, there was a remote control unit so that the engineer in the studio could adjust the distance without having to go down into the basement. Over here, treble, boost and cut, and a bass cut filter here as well. This is a high pass filter basically. Over here we can add pre-delay, which is quite common in reverbs. I can adjust the dry, wet signal. It's on 50% now. I can also add some analog drive and analog effects. This is distortion, humming, buzzing, hissing, those kind of effects as well. I've got those switched off, both of those. So that's pretty much it. I think it's time to listen to some audio examples. So we have a variety of different sources here, different instruments here, vocals, guitars, bass drums, etc. And they are all playing through this group track here, which I've called Verb. And that's where I've instantiated this plugin. And I've set the mix here to 50-50. So you'll hear half of the dry signal and half of the reverb. And then as I play the demonstrations, I'm going to push this all the way to 100%. So you can just hear the sound of the reverb. And then we'll adjust some of these parameters. And you'll be able to judge for yourself what effect they have. I mentioned at the start of the video that I had noticed an issue with the audio. And you can hear this when we listen to this vocal track that we have down here. Listen very carefully to the sibilance of the vocal performance. That's when the singer says S or sh or those kinds of words, because I can hear quite an unpleasant distortion artifact there that doesn't sound pleasant to me at all. Now, probably this is something that was present in the real hardware and that Waves are using it in their emulation, but I didn't find the sound very attractive and wish I could have got rid of it. But I've tried all manner of settings in the plugin and couldn't completely eliminate it. I've also tried different routings to be sure that it's nothing to do with the way I've set the plugin up, but I'm convinced it's the sound of the plugin itself. So pay close attention to that because I find it to be quite disappointing. What we can also do on this track here, I've got an instance of Valhalla Room, which is the other plugin I use from time to time. So I can do a comparison of these two, just so you can really be sure that it is the Plates plugin that is causing this very slight but unpleasant distortion. On the other instruments you can't hear it at all, so it's not a major issue, but a bit of a niggle that I have.
I smell dead roses, dead roses in your hair. Can you smell roses like candy in the air? And then I smell dead roses, dead roses in your hair. Can you smell roses like candy in the air? And then smell dead roses, dead roses in your hair. Can you smell roses like candy in the air? And then I smell dead roses, dead roses in your hair. Can you smell roses like candy in the air? And then
So did you hear what I was talking about? Please do let me know in the comments, especially if you use this plugin yourself and have experienced a similar thing. I'd love to know if there's a way to work around this.
Dismissed you. Whoa. But I thought I'd lose you. I may amuse you. Oh. And all of the moonlight sparkling down from the sky. Blue diamonds in your eyes. Of your smile, dead roses all the while. I smell dead roses.
So as a form of wrap up then, I think that this plugin generally sounds really good. Immensely warm, rich and natural. But I'm not liking some of this breakup that is modelled. Now you can see this yourself, the UI is wonderful and a real pleasure to use. It's very simple and I appreciate these very simple plate and damping controls to sculpt the sound, instead of the very precise and scientific interface you get in many other reverb plugins, such as the Valhalla Room there. It's really fun to play at being an Abbey Road engineer for a little while. As always, thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I'll see you again soon. Cheerio.